This is like the 5th video I filmed in this shirt. Guys, low-key though, this is like one of my favorite shirts, and I got it in the little boys section at Walmart. Just saying. Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Caitlin from Leave Me Alone Plants, and today we are going in with it on the Blue Star Fern. Now, if you saw my recent video on heart-shaped ferns, then this is going to be another one like that one that is going to be much more easy to care for than your standard fern. So if you are like me and typically struggle with them, then keep on watching, because let me tell you, this is the plant for you. Blue Star Ferns are found kind of like all over the place, all over the Americas, at least that is. So in North America, you'll find them kind of, you know, down south in the Georgias and the Florida. I was gonna say in the Floridas. Imagine if there was 2 Floridas, that would be wild. But you'll find them down in those southern areas that are a little more humid, you know, typically like those foresty, boggy areas that you would typically think of. And then you will also find them in South and Central America as well. So kind of all over the place, a wide region that you will find these guys in. Typically I'll say, you know, based on where they're natively found, then I'll tell you exactly how to care for them. But because they're found in so many different places, that, you know, makes it a little more difficult to say. I guess we'll start off with lighting. So typically when I think of ferns, I think of a plant that's going to like, you know, kind of a darker light, a lower lighting situation, because typically they're going to be found, you know, on that forest floor area. However, these guys happen to be, oh my god, you guessed it, epiphytes. As you know, if you have watched basically any video on my channel.
Tell these people something they don't know about me.
What that means is that they don't always grow in a soil medium. They can basically grow attached to anything, be it a tree, be it a rock, be it the side of a wall, and they just kind of latch on and grow from there. Now, why is that important when we're talking about light? Well, unlike most ferns that are going to be growing on the ground, inside soil, you know, this guy might latch onto a tree where he's higher up and he is getting more light. So when thinking about where to put this plant in your home, it is going to want to go somewhere with, you guessed it, bright indirect light. I hope you guys have a lot of windows in your house, because all these plants want bright indirect light. All right! Which is fine, don't get me wrong, but just keep that in mind that unlike your other ferns, this guy is gonna, you know, need a little extra boost for him. However, consistent with other ferns that you know and love, this guy, like them, will like to have a pretty moist soil. However, with that said, going back to the fact that it's epiphytic, again, just because it likes a moist soil does not mean that it wants to sit in a swamp. When you think about a plant that's going to be growing on a tree, it's not going to be constantly submerged in a wet, soggy medium. You know, that water is going to very freely drip through. So you're going to want to emulate an environment that's similar to that in your pot. So being sure that it has really good drainage holes, is a really free-flowing soil, is really going to help make sure that you don't get rot on this plant, you know, be it root rot, rhizome rot, or just stem rot in general, because it can totally happen if you are giving your plant too much water or letting it sit in that water for that matter. Again, consistent with other ferns, this guy is going to like a little bit of a higher humidity. Now, while he can definitely tolerate a humidity, you know, lower than something like a Boston fern, which if you, again, have watched this channel, you know that I don't have the friendliest of relationships with Boston ferns, but this guy will definitely, you know, he'll tolerate something lower, but he really does want it. And what you will start to notice happening if you're not giving him the humidity that he, you know, wants, is he'll start to get not even like brown tips, almost like gray tips, I guess. So, you know, just give the guy what he wants and nobody gets hurt. While I'm close up here, I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it. I'm not sure if it'll pull up. I'm gonna try and pull myself out of this frame, so hopefully it'll focus. But these leaves, literally, if you look through them, have this like dreamy, it almost looks like this water marble pattern. So, just a really gorgeous leaf. It's like your Photoshop. They are obviously called a Blue Star Fern. To me, you know, I guess you could kind of, I can see the blue in it. They're, you know, a little more on like the pale green, kind of similar to the eucalyptus type colors. So not necessarily, I wouldn't say like blue, but I can see it. Either way, the leaves on this guy are beautiful, and I don't know, there's just something about them that I feel like is kind of goofy. Like they're just these big giant leaves. It basically looks like what, you know, a more standard fern would look like if you just like took it and like dragged the picture to be larger. Like they're just kind of, you know, they're goofy, they're big, they're large. So that was one of the things that really drew me to this plant when I first saw it. As for how big these plants can get, they are kind of going to be creepers. So, you know, really what they're going to want to do is going to spread out and get wider and wider and wider. They can get taller than this. I recently watched a video by Rosetta Grows. She did a video on one that she had recently picked up, and it was like a big plant. It was probably about that big. So they can definitely get taller than the one that I have here, but you know, if you're giving it endless room to grow, it probably is going to ultimately just sprawl out that way. Now, just recently I've had 2 new little leaves pop out of here. They start out teeny tiny and then they grow into these big monsters. For me, this is a decently fast growing plant, which I always love, I always appreciate, because I am an impatient person, as you know. If you've never watched this channel, as you don't know, but now you know. And while you're at it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out on quality content like this one in the future.
Are you not entertained?
Now, one problem that I have not had personally, but I've heard people mention with these, is kind of having the plant rot out if you are watering it from the top. So you're gonna, you know, want to try to avoid being what I consider a sloppy waterer, which basically just means, you know, going in with a giant watering can and watering it from the top down and getting all this foliage and the stems wet. Really what you're going to want to do is kind of, you know, just pull this foliage back and kind of go in with more of a precision technique to water this plant to avoid any of those rotting situations, if you will. As for propagating this plant, of course, if you are, you know, some kind of botanist of sorts and you want to propagate it by spores, then be my guest. I don't know how to propagate ferns by spores, but I'm sure there's a video out there that you could watch on it. It's not going to be this one, but if you are like me and don't know how to propagate through spores, then what you can do is actually just go in and divide up this plant. It's actually going to have rhizomes, and you're just gonna wanna kind of pull them apart, not pull the rhizome itself apart, but like split the separate rhizomes apart from each other, and then you will have multiple ferns that you can either, you know, pot up in different areas of your home or give away to friends or whatever you're planning on doing with it. And I'm just gonna take it out of its little cover pot that I have it in, and you can't see them super well on this plant, but basically what these rhizomes look like are gonna be these little yellow fuzzy rhizomes. They have these little hairs on them. Mine are not super big, however, I have seen some of them that are gigantic, and when they get really big, what they actually look like are kind of like those rabbit foot ferns, where it's like big and hairy and hanging off. They don't necessarily like hang off like rabbit foot ferns. I can promise you on this channel I will never own one of those because those plants seriously creep me out. But they are hairy like that, and it's kind of cool but also kind of weird. I'm not really sure how to feel about it. So thankfully mine are small right now. We will cross it out when we get there. But fun fact, if you are looking to acquire one of these plants, it does have fuzzy rhizomes. Some fun facts about this plant: they are non-toxic, which is always, you know, great if you have little kiddos or doggos or anything else running around your house. I guess if they want to eat them, I mean, it probably won't be good for them, but I think they should be fine. So that's great. It's also rated as a great plant for air purification if you believe in plants actually, you know, purifying your air. I know that's kind of like out for debate, but it is rated as a plant that does a better job than others. So if you're into that kind of stuff, then this might be the plant for you to pick up. Well, unfortunately, our time here today has come to an end. That is all I have for you guys, but as always, if you have questions, if you have comments you would like to make, drop them down below, and as always, I will get back to you guys in a timely fashion. Thank you so much for watching this video. Now, if you could be so kind to do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you enjoyed this content even, you know, a little bit, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we come out with videos all the time, and like I said, you wouldn't want to miss out on this quality content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.